Hello students, welcome to this video. In this video, we will study lesson 4, solve equations with variables on each side. We have an example here. We need to solve the equation of 7x plus 4 equals 9x. Let's remember what's the meaning of solving an equation. Solving an equation means that we need to put the variable alone on one side of the equation without anything else, any number that is subtracted or added to that variable or divided or multiplied with that variable. So we need, what is the variable here? We can see that the variable is x. We have two variables, x on this side and x in the other side. The meaning of solving this equation is to have x alone equals to some number here. Okay, that's the meaning of solving an equation. Okay, what is the meaning? What is the difference between this type of equation and the types of equations that we solved in the previous lessons? What is special is that we have variables on both sides of the equation, and this is new for us. How can we solve this type of equations? The key thing is to write the variables on one side of the equation and the numbers on the other side. So we need to make the variables on one side and the numbers and anything else on the other side of the equation. So here we need 7x to go near the 9x and 4x stays as it is on the other side of the equation. To do that, we look at the sign of the coefficient here. It is positive, right? It is positive 7. So we subtract 7x from both sides of the equation. By doing that, let's calculate what will happen. If we did that, we can see that the first part of the equation, the first side of the equation, we are left with only 4 because 7x minus 7x is 0. So we only have positive 4 here. 4 equals the other part of the equation, we have 9x minus 7x. You can think of that as having 9 pins and just remove 7 pins of that, and we will only left with 2 pins. So 9x minus 7x equals 2x. Okay, and this is the type of equations that we can solve, and we took it in the last lesson. Okay, we look at the coefficient. What do we call the two here? The coefficient of the variable, and the variable is x. We look at the operation, the mathematical operation between the coefficient and the variable. It is a multiplication, so we need to undo the multiplication or to do the inverse process of multiplication. What is the inverse of multiplication? It is division. So we should divide both parts of the equation on that coefficient, which is here 2. So now we write the full answer. The answer is 4 divided on 2 equals how much? 2. And 2 divided on 2 is 1. We can write 1x, but as we have been repeatedly saying that if we have the coefficient for a variable equals to 1, we can just ignore writing the 1. Okay? And what we are left with? We are left with the variable alone, x, and equals to something, some number. So that's the solution for that equation. X equals 2. X is equal to 2. This is how we solved this equation. Let's check our answer. We can always check our answer when calculating the equations, the variables of the equations. How to check our answer? Let's check. To check the answer, we rewrite the equation as it is. It was 7x plus 4 equals 9x. Then rewrite again, but this time, instead of writing x, just try 2 parentheses, open 2 parentheses. 7 times 2 parentheses plus 4 equals 9, and we have an x. We do not write x, we write 2 parentheses. Okay, What do we put between these two parentheses? The value for x that we calculated, which is x equals 2. We put 2 between the parentheses. 2 here and 2 here. And it is, of course, 7 multiplied by 2 and 9 multiplied by 2. Now we can check if this statement was true, then our answer is correct. Now, 7 times 2 gives us 14. 14 plus 4 in this side of the equation, and the other side, 9 times 2 gives us 18. Is this statement true? Is 14 plus 4 give us 18? Yes, of course. So because this statement is true, our solution here, that x is equal to 2, is the solution for this equation. So we can know now that our answer is correct. Let's take another example. In this example, we have 3x minus 2 equal to 8x plus 13. And we can see that we have variables on each side of the equation. How to solve it? We look at one of these variables' sign, the coefficient of one of these variables. Let's look at here, 3x. 3 is positive. So the first thing we need to do is to subtract this 3x from both sides of the equation. What we are trying to do is to put the variables on one side and the numbers on the other side of the equation. Okay, what we are left with by subtracting 3. In this side here, 3x minus 3 is 0. So the only thing we're left with in this side of the equation is negative 2. Negative 2 is equal to 8x minus 3x. How much is that? You have 8 bucks and you removed 3 of them. You are left with 5 bucks. The same as it is. So 5x. 8x minus 3x gives us 5x. And we have 13 again. Okay. So did we just finish? No, we need to move the 13 to the next part, to the other side of the equation. How can we do that? Actually, this type of equation that is the type that we were solving in the last lesson. Let's just subtract 13 from both parts of the equation. So in the first part, we have negative 2 minus 13, which will give us negative 15. And negative 15 is equal to 5x. How can we solve? Did we solve this equation? Not yet, because x still have a number beside it. This number here. How can we just remove this number or just get rid of that? We look at the mathematical operation between it and the variable. It's a multiplication, so we should divide. We divide both parts of this equation on 5. On 5. So the final answer will be 5 divided on 5, only x. We can write x is equal to how much? Negative 15 over 5 is negative 3. So x is equal to negative 3. Let's check that out. Let's check our answer. Is it correct or not? Check. How can we check that? We rewrite the equation, but this time, let's just rewrite it, all the equation. Negative 2 equals 8x plus 13. 8x plus 13. Okay, and let's just rewrite the equation now again, but this time instead of writing x, we write 2 parentheses. So we write 3 times something minus 3 equals to 8 times 2 parentheses plus 13. And what should we substitute between these 2 parentheses? The value of x that we found here. x is equal to negative 3. So we put negative 3 here and negative 3 here. Then we calculate it. 3 times negative 3 gives us negative 9 minus 2 is equal to negative 3 times 8, negative 24 plus 13. If this statement was true, then our solution is true. Let's check that out. Negative 9 minus 2 is negative 11. Negative 24 plus 13, these are different signs. So we put the sign of the greater, and because they are different signs, we subtract. We subtract each of them. If we subtracted 13 from 24, we can see that it is equal to 11. Negative 11 is equal to negative 11. So this statement is true. Therefore, our solution here, x is equal to negative 3, is correct.